Welcome back to What's the Obsession, covering the Kiely Rodni case to ensure complete justice for Kiely. So, I've been staying away from doing this video, but I just can't help it. Every time I watch a video of Sami Smith, a video that is recorded looking at her pretty much, head on, I notice this pattern time and time again. Now, the reason I tried to stay away from making this video is these eye movements connected to truthfulness versus deception can be oversimplified and overgeneralized, in which case, of course, they're not really going to mean anything. Some of you might know this about me. I'm a behavioral therapist using several different methods of analyzing behavior when I'm working with students and other people in a therapeutic setting. So this is something that's known to be true. It's evidence-based, it's tried and true. And here's the key, guys. When you're watching someone speak, when you notice the behavior or the action or the tendency, and it happens time and time again, it's replicated across settings over time, it's becoming a pattern itself, then according to behavioral analysis, the behavior or the nonverbal cue, movement, whatever it may be, takes on meaning. Now, I just want to clarify what over time and across settings means. Over time doesn't mean it doesn't have to be over several years or even several months. Depending on the situation, it can just be over several minutes or another occurrence of analyzing someone. Across settings just means that you've observed this nonverbal indicator in a person in more than one setting, essentially. So the interview footage we have of Sami Smith meets the criteria of over time and across settings. So what we are looking at here is the movement of the eyes. And I'm just going to stick to looking up to the right or up to the left, okay? Because those are the clearest indicators that we're going to see in a person, generally speaking. So when a person looks up into their right, which remember is going to be your left, they are constructing a visual image, which means they're lying. They're making something up on the fly so they can tell you what they think you want to hear, also known as lying. When a person is talking and they look up and to their left, which is going to be your right, they are visualizing something that is a remembered experience through images. So they're telling the truth. They're recalling something that happened. They're telling you. They're being truthful. So now remember, when someone looks up and to their right, which is going to be your left, they're visualizing something. They're trying to make up something to tell you. They're lying. When a person is looking up and to their left, which is going to be your right, they're simply remembering something visual that happened in the past, and then they are retelling their story based on those visualizations that they're pulling from their own memory. Okay, so let's apply this behavioral science as we watch some statements from Kiely Rodni's friend, Sami Smith.
I went up to her and I said, "Hey, I got another ride home," because she was meant to be my ride home, but I knew she was too intoxicated to get me home. So I said, "Hey, I found another ride home. Like, I hope you stay safe. Like, I'll see you tomorrow. Like, I love you. Like, have fun and stuff." I think it's totally possible that somebody could have taken her and maybe offered to drive her home. They've searched into the forest, they've searched into the water, they've searched in every single place, and there's no tire tracks or anything from what I know.
She came up there. Shani Jones wants to ask you, on your last call, did she let you know who the quote unquote friend was that was driving her home?
Yeah, so this is a common misconception. She was not being driven home and she was not driving. So, okay. At the end of the party when I saw her, she was supposed to give me a ride home because I had asked her to give me a ride home because I wanted to stay later. I then realized later in the party that I believe she was drunk, and I knew she was drunk, and so I did not want her to be driving me home, because I know about drunk drivers and all that, and so I,
Smart.
yeah, and I figured she would be staying there or she would find a ride home because she's a smart girl. She's smart enough to know, she's smart, and so, then I found her as I was leaving the party. I was making sure to find her to tell her that I had another ride home and that I loved her and I wanted to say bye and for her to have fun at the party. And then when I left the party, we were pretty much on 89 with my ride. And she called me as I was in the car in the passenger seat and she was like, "Hey, where are you?" And she called me as I was in the car in the passenger seat and she was like, "Hey, where are you? Do you still need a ride home?" And I was like, "No, I'm okay. Like, I'm in the car right now. I'm like getting driven home now. In the car right now. I'm like getting driven home now. In the car right now. I'm like getting driven home now." But Kiely did not have a set ride home, and I was under the impression that she would either sleep there or find another ride home. And it was not known that anybody was going to give her a ride home. She was not, when she called me, she was not in a car. I could hear the party and many people talking in the background.
Oh, wow. If there's anything you could say to Sammy right now, what would you say to her?
It's Kiely, just by the way, but if Kiely's out there watching
I'm
this,
sorry, Kylie. I meant. I apologize.
don't worry.
I just my mind's going 1,000 miles an hour. It's just this is a very.
So, guys, what I found in almost all of the interview footage of Sami Smith, where the camera is looking at her from a front view head on, Sami looks up and to her right or my left, indicating that she's making up images, making up things that she's going to say, indicating that she might possibly, probably be lying when she talks about that phone call or that interaction that Kiely had told her, she was going to stay there. Sami getting a ride home. No, I'm going to be getting a different ride home. Didn't want to get a ride home with Kiely. That whole interaction, that whole storyline involving whether or not Sami was going to get a ride home with Kiely, and she didn't. And whatever it is she did that wasn't a ride home with Kiely, but with someone else, we still don't know what that is. That whole piece of Sami's storyline based on this behavioral science, to me, indicates clear deception.
Then I found her as I was leaving the party. I was making sure to find her to tell her that I had another ride home and that I loved her and I wanted to say bye and for her to have fun at the party. And then when I left the party, we were pretty much. I went up to her and I said, "Hey, I got another ride home," because she was meant to be my ride home, but I knew she was too intoxicated to get me home. So I said, "Hey, I found another ride home. Like, I hope you stay safe. Like, I'll see you tomorrow. Like, I love you. Like, have fun and stuff."